Center Library from the Southeast Michigan Ghost Society. And with that, take it away, Brad.
Thank you, Carl. So how is everybody doing tonight? Good. What is it with you and rain? We were at Baldwin Library last Thursday. It rained the whole night. We're from Lansing. We came down here tonight. It was fine until we hit Detroit. Then it started to rain the whole time again. It's like, what is it with you guys with rain? Anyways, I am Brad McCulkin. I am director or co-director of the Southeast Michigan Ghost Hunter Society. My wife Brenda is in the front row. She's the co-director also. We've been doing this for 20 years. And if you know anything about the paranormal, 20 years is a long time. A lot of the groups that we have seen come and go, they'll be around a couple years, and then they leave. They just poof away. I think what it is I think that people, they expect things to scare them. They expect to go on investigations and have spirits come out and scare them. And that's not the case. We've been doing this, like I said, we've been doing this for 20 years. And every time we're on investigations, we might spend 12 hours in a haunted spot without any activity whatsoever. So I think people, they come, expect things to happen, and when they don't happen, they lose interest. That being said, this is our 20th year. We were one of the first 3 paranormal groups in Michigan. We are the only one that's still left. So we are, by default, the oldest paranormal group in Michigan. We were around before the TV shows were. Okay, there's a spirit. That is our prop right there. And that is a prop that if we're doing an investigation and we close a room off, if there's any kind of movement with that, I call her Lucy. If Lucy moves whatsoever, she'll talk to you. So we'll get that on video, and then we know whether or not someone or something was in the actual room with us. As I was saying, 20 years, we are the oldest paranormal group in Michigan. We were doing this way before any shows on TV, any interest in the paranormal. Back in our day, we were called freaks. We still are, but we're called freaks, oddballs, crazy, strange, you name it, we have been called that basically. We were on a show called The Attic. It was on Discovery Channel in 2006. Ours is called The Attic, and it was about a investigation we did in a house in Pontiac. And what they say is true about TV, it adds 20 pounds. My case, it was right here in the cheeks. I look like a hamster with food in its mouth. Seriously, it's like I look back now, I mean, I'm not no athlete myself now, but I look at back then, it's like, my God, I was chubby. And a little story, they came to our house, and the show is only an hour show. But after you take out commercials and everything else, it's about a 45-minute show-ish. And I'm sorry, I can't stand still when I talk. So if I use my hands, I apologize. I'm used to walking around and doing things. Anyways, so basically, they came over to our house. They were at our house for 10 hours. And they interviewed 3 of us, myself, Brenda, and one of our people in our group, Mary. And for 10 hours, they would interview us. It was an hour-and-a-half interview each, but then they would set up an hour-and-a-half in between interviews. It was done in our house. And they had to do the camera angles, they had to do the props, the audio, the sound, the whole thing. The sound was so amazing, the audio guy's name was Brian, that we had to unplug our refrigerator during the interviews because they were picking up the hum from our fridge. Our son had a turtle, Rocky. We had to undo his tank because they could hear the tank humming. Rocky died. No, I'm just kidding. Rocky is still alive. Rocky's gonna outlive all of us, trust me. When we first got him, his shell, this is off keister, but his shell was like was that big. His now shell is this big. He's gonna outlive all of us. Anyways, if you ever see it, it's on Destination America channel, which is on DirecTV, it's 284. If you have it, it's on reruns. We are officially in reruns. And if you go to Walmart, Best Buy, they have a packet of season 3 DVDs, which I have a copy down there in the front. I don't get anything from this, so this is just promotional information. Ours was season 3, episode 2. It's called The Attic. And one other tidbit was Ray was the on-site director, producer. And we basically would sit in our chair, talk to him at the camera. So we're sitting there talking, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Brad, you're going to have to wear makeup. And I'm like, dude, I'm not wearing makeup. And just so you know, I call everybody dude, okay? I'm like, dude, I'm not wearing makeup. And he goes, yes, you are, Brad. I'm like, no, Ray, I'm not. And he goes, do you want to be on TV? I'm like, yeah. Then you're going to wear makeup. I wore blush, okay? If you see this episode, you are forewarned. I look like not only the hamster with food in his mouth, I also look like I have red cheeks from being outside in the cold. It was not my idea, that's just the way it was. So if you get a chance, it's called The Attic. It is on reruns, and like I said, it's on the Destination America, channel 284 DirecTV. And I'm hoping, and I'm sitting here and I'm hoping I have the correct PowerPoint presentation. We'll soon find out in a second. I think we do, but I'm not sure. I have written 3 books. My first book is called I Am Ghost Hunter. Our first 10 years of investigations, it basically takes you from when we go on site until we leave. Everything that happened in the book has happened, and it did happen, and it is real. I do not have any copies, unfortunately, but you can buy them online at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and I even saw them on eBay. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But they're on eBay, so I guess I should be proud of that fact. My second book is called Spook House. People always ask me, how did you get involved in the paranormal? Fair question. When I was a kid, years ago, we lived in a haunted house. I don't remember much about it, but talking to my mom, my uncles, my dad, my aunts, my aunt would say, oh, I was there when that happened. Or my uncle, well, I was there when that happened. So it's called the Spook House, and it is still to this day called the Spook House. We lived there 3 months, and we did leave because of the activity. But the activity, what you see on TV, the blood coming down from the walls and all that kind of stuff, didn't happen here. We had blood coming from our oven. It's a joke, you didn't catch it. No, we had, one of the things that I can say happened was downstairs, Mom heard like 2 animals having a fight. They were scratching, clawing, growling, hissing, and the whole thing. After it stopped, my mom and dad went downstairs. There wasn't anything there. There wasn't anything out of place. There was no animals that could get into the house. So to this day, we don't know what that was. But Mom and Dad both heard 2 animals having a fight, scratching, clawing, growling, the whole thing. Went downstairs, there wasn't anything there. My third book came out last August. I do have a few copies left for $20. I will autograph them for you. Ghost Hunting in Michigan. Basically, our last 10 years of doing investigations. Takes you from the time that we get there until the time we leave. So some of the places we've done was the Purple Rose Theater in Chelsea. It's included in here. Over in Bath, I believe Bath is included. Graveyards. So basically, the last 10 years of investigations we've done, not everything in 10 years, but a few of them in 10 years is in this book. There are 2 investigations that we had done. We've been all over. We've been to Iowa, Texas, Lizzie Borden's house, investigated that. We've been to Ohio, and that's it, I believe. Anyways, we have 2 out-of-state investigations that are prominent as far as the activity goes. The first one is the Ohio State Reformatory. Who has seen Shawshank Redemption? That was taped at the Ohio State Reformatory, believe it or not. Everything that happened in the prison was taped in this prison right here. The prison itself was closed in 1992. It was a prison, like a working prison, for 152 years, I believe. Here's a little FYI. A former Tiger served time at Ohio State Reformatory. And the Tiger would have been the Detroit Tigers, It would have been late 60s, early 70s. Do we know who that could be? Yes, Mr. Brown. He served time at Ohio State Reformatory for burglary. He broke into a house. And I was not aware of this until I was reading up on the actual prison itself. The prison sat idle or empty for about 3 or 4 years. The Mansfield Historical Place bought it for $1. Lock, stock, and barrel. When they got it, there was holes in the walls, holes in the ceiling, broken windows, water damage. They've brought it up pretty well. They've refurbished it. When we were there the first time, there was paint peeling from the walls, books all over the floor, trash all over the floor. They've made it pretty well now. This is the Ohio State Reformatory. The main part is right here. That is still there. That's the only thing that's still left of the prison. The walls are gone. The buildings inside the walls are gone. This is all gone. There's actually a working prison behind this one. It's called Richland Correctional Facility. It stands right about there. The problem with that is the graveyard from the old prison is on the new prison's property. You can't go there. You cannot go up on the roof no more because people were taking pictures of the working prison, which they were told not to do. So you can't go up on the roof no more and see where a guard was actually killed years ago. I saw my first apparition at Ohio State Reformatory. We were upstairs, and like I said, they have bats. I do not like bats. I hate bats. I'm a big guy. I'm a ghost hunter. I hate bats. Despise them. They're flying rats. We were coming from the East Block when we were being chased by these bats. And it's not so bad if they would just like fly at you and then leave you alone, but they would fly at you and continue to fly at you until you left the room. I don't like that. So we were coming from the East Block. We were in the admin section. I had put everything away. I had put away my cameras, my video camera, my tape recorder for EVPs. I had put everything away. A bat comes around, I duck, I come back up. When I came back up, there was a hallway in front of me and a cross hallway. In that cross hallway, I saw my apparition. My very first one with my own eyes. The dark blue pants, light blue shirt. He was gliding down the hallway. Not walking, not movement like this, but like this, looking straight ahead, and he was moving, but wasn't anything moving. He had brownish blonde colored hair, and he had an aura around him. I'm sorry, a spotlight, not an aura, but like a spotlight aura around him. It was like a yellowish orange aura. And being what I was back then, or still am, it didn't click for like 2 minutes. I saw a ghost. Exactly. And I'm like, and that's not acceptable either, buddy. I should have been right on that, but I wasn't. It took me like 2 minutes to figure out that was a ghost I just saw. And there was 2 other people with me. And James and I'm like, James, I think I just saw a ghost. And he goes, dude, it's late. I'm like, no, dude, because I call everybody dude. Dude, I saw him going down the hallway. So we chased after him, and where he was going, it goes to the hallway, it turns, it opens up into a big room, and that's it. There's only one way in or out. So we chased after him, and we went in there and couldn't find anybody. But I know what I saw. So then the following year we went, and we asked Frank, who is the board of directors at the prison, a volunteer at the prison. We're like, Frank, can we bring in all of our equipment? Because we have like 6 cases of equipment. We have cameras, EMF meters, M-pods, everything you see on TV, but in a smaller scale, because we pay for our own stuff. And he's like, I don't care what you bring in, I don't care where you plug in things at, just don't burn the prison down. That's all I ask. So here we are, 3 trips up 3 flights of stairs to set up all of our equipment. We had motion sensors, EMF meters, tape recorders. We were video cameras. We sat there for 2.5 hours watching our monitors. He didn't show back up. So that just shows you that if a place is supposedly haunted, and you don't have any activity, it does not mean that it wasn't haunted. It just means that at that time it wasn't active for whatever reason. This is where I should have said, this is a spoiler alert. If you have not seen Shawshank or are you planning on watching Shawshank, close your ears right now, because this is a spoiler alert. How many of you remember the halfway house where Brooks was at and Red was at also? It was in the prison. It's two steps down from the chapel. We were there our first time, and the chapel is still there, but the balconies are gone, and the pews are gone, but you can still see Jesus painted up on the wall. He'll be there forever. And if you go down the stairs, one more flight of stairs, turn to your left, you're in the halfway house. So even though they were in the halfway house, they were still in prison. And Brooks was here, and so was Red. And if you've seen Shawshank, you know what that means. Here's a couple of props I'll just show you, not paranormal, but of interest to me. This is a safe that was put into the wall in the warden's office, where every night he would put the Bible and all the dirty money and stuff. The real office, there was no wall safe there, so for the movie, they put a hole in the wall and put a safe in there. And that's the actual safe that they used. Here's the book that was in there. Dear Warden, you were right, salvation lay within, Andy Dufresne. That was also there too. And just for the heck of it, I was the warden for a day. I'm sorry, not yet. Here's the actual Bible cut out. And then for the heck of it, I was the warden for the day. 3 o'clock in the morning, tired as heck. But that's the warden's office before he killed himself. Who's been Gettysburg, Pennsylvania? Cool place. We've been there many times. It's haunted. We stayed our first time at the Cashtown Inn. The Cashtown Inn is 8 miles west of town. And on June 30th, General Lee, he came from Chambersburg, which is 18 miles west, marched towards town, and this was his headquarters on June 30th. So he stayed in the Cashtown Inn. So if he stayed there, most likely General Longstreet did, Oates probably did, all of his other high-ranking generals all were there with him. And why I mentioned the Cashtown Inn is because we stayed there, and the top part now is a B&B, and the bottom part is a fine dining establishment. So we stayed there, and we were the first people to check in. And the owner's son, Scott, he goes, I will show you guys up to your room. Our room was upstairs. Our room, as we came up the stairs, our room was here. There was a room here and a room over here. So we're in front of our room. I'm like, Scott, dude, I have to ask you, is this place haunted? And he goes, well, actually, he goes, I don't like to mention it because it scares people, but since you asked, yes, it is haunted. And he started to tell us some things that happened there. And about halfway through his first story, all 3 of us heard 2 men talking from the corner room over there. We could not make out what was being said, but we could hear 2 men talking. So we're like, okay. And Scott turned around and he goes, that's odd. And we're like, what's odd, Scott? He goes, you 2 are the first guests. There's no one else here but us. So he turns back around, and we can still hear the 2 men talking behind us in that corner room. And this lasted for about 3 or 4 minutes. You could hear them talking, clear as a bell. Couldn't make out what was being said, but you could hear them talking. So we're like, okay. And he goes, okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So he walks over, knocks on the door. Housekeeping. There's still 2 men talking. Housekeeping, 2 men talking. I have a key, I'm coming in. He puts his key in the keyhole, turns the key, opens the door, the talking stops, the room is empty. But we all 3 heard 2 men talking. Don't know who it was. I don't know if it was General Lee, Longstreet, Oates, Hood. Don't know who it was. But he did use that as his headquarters on June 30th, the day before the actual battle. This is an orb that was taken in town. We were driving past, and my EMF meter that I had with me in the car started going beep, 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 beep. So I pulled over, took a picture. That's an orb. Skeptics, do we have any skeptics here today? Oh, I gotta have at least one skeptic. Thank you, ma'am. If you want to get your stuff up and leave, we'll wait for you to leave. I'm only serious. Just kidding. That is an orb. The skeptics would say that that's a piece of dust, animal dander, pollen, whatever the case might be. Between you and myself, I have not seen a piece of dust that big. An orb, a true spirit orb, an orb, spirit orb is the same thing. They're interchangeable. So if I say spirit orb, I'm talking about orbs. A spirit orb will be perfectly round, and the illumination comes from within, which that has. This has a tail to it. That means it's moving away from the camera. The shutter on the camera doesn't know what to do with that, so it makes a tail on there. That's what that is right there. We were at Triangular Field. Triangular Field is day 2 of battle. It's where the Confederates came from the Peach Orchard to Round Top. The Triangular Field is a field shaped like a triangle that has a fence around it. It's been a hot spot for paranormal activity for years. Equipment will not work correctly, batteries drain, people feel at ease or uneasiness in the Triangular Field. I was there, well, we were there. I was out there taking pictures, and if you're taking pictures at night with a flash, you should say flash, so people know to turn away. I got an EVP, which is basically a voice that's captured on a recording device. Anything that records can capture voices. Tape recorder, a video camera, a phone. Anything that can record can pick up EVP. I got, a voice asked me, am I buried? Most EVPs are a whisper like this, not like this. There are some TV shows, I will not name that TV show, that want you to believe that it's like having a conversation with a spirit. That's not true. You don't hear kill Zach. You hear hello, what's up? So we're going to try to play this EVP for you guys, and it says, am I buried, if this works correctly.
Flash.
Can we hear that?
Flash.
It says, am I buried? I'll play it for you guys one more time.
Flash.
Am I buried?
Flash.
I have gotten orbs before here, gotten mist here before. This is my first EVP. And to have a spirit who's been dead for 155 years ask me, am I buried? Kind of puts it into perspective a little bit. Investigations in our great state of Michigan. Go state. Even though they don't have a chance in heck. I'm sorry. I love Michigan State to death, but they don't have a chance this weekend. They're going to get slaughtered. But that's why they play the game. So anyways, go green.
Go white.
Go green. We can be here all day. Okay, the USS Edson. We were there 2 years ago. It's in the great city of Bay City, Michigan. It is I guess a World War II, Vietnam era, Korean War destroyer. A little FYI about this. It was on an episode of The Twilight Zone. And I know you guys are going to want to know what the name of the show was. I think it was called 30 Fathom Grave. And it's probably half of the show is taped on the Edson, believe it or not. So if you ever get a chance to see that, Twilight Zone, 30 Fathom Grave, I believe is the episode. The Edson's on there. We hear a lot about haunted locations on the internet. Google is your friend. You Google haunted spots in Michigan and all these places pop up. Some of them are urban legends, some of them are really haunted. So we went to the Edson, and we have a saying, have orbs will travel. We went 12 hours to Villisca, Iowa to investigate a haunted house that people were killed in. Didn't find nothing. We've been 4 hours to Trinway, Ohio, Prospect Place. Did find some things there. We were to Lizzie Borden's house. I know I should do that. Lizzie Borden's house, investigated that. That was interesting, by the way. So we went to the USS Edson, and we spent the night on the Edson. In October, not 1 ounce of heat. It was chilly. It was chilly to say the least. We were there, and this right here there was 3 things that happened to us. One picture, and I don't know what this is. And I'll be honest with you guys, if I show you a picture and I don't know what it is, I'll tell you I don't know what it is. I'm not going to stand up here and say, oh, well, this is this, or talk technical to you. If I don't know what it is, I'll tell you I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. It was taken down a hallway, a passageway. We're talking about a ship here. And in question is right here. It looks like, to me, like an animal. Now, it is a common knowledge that captains, against regulations, will have their own pet on the ship as a mascot. He or she was not there when the picture was taken. I took the actual picture myself. It was not there. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. I think I have a close-up picture. Right here is in question. And if you look, you can kind of see through it, behind it, how this right here part goes back there. To me, it looks like a dog, a white dog, looking at me. Whether or not it is, I don't know for a fact, but he was not there when I took the actual picture. This was the crew's quarters, and we kept on hearing banging sounds, something being moved. Happened to us like 3 or 4 times during the actual investigation. Couldn't find a source for it. There's no engine that runs on this ship anymore, so we don't know what the noise could have been, but it sounded like something being banged or moved. Also, in the cafeteria, we also saw on our cameras 3 times shadows, black shadows, that would go across our video cameras when there wasn't anybody walking past the video cameras. And since I mentioned black shadows, just because something is a black shadow does not mean that's evil, demonic, or going to kill you. That's Hollywood, that's TV. That doesn't happen in real life. Bath, who's heard of bath? Oh, a few people. I'm not talking about, on a Saturday night taking a bath. We're talking about Bath. Bath, Michigan, it's about 20 minutes northeast of Lansing. May 18th, 1927. A gentleman named Andrew Kehoe blew up the Bath Consolidated School System. Right there. He only blew up a portion of the school. After everything was all said and done, they found 500 pounds of unexploded TNT. He meant for the whole school to be blown up. Andrew Kehoe was a farmer. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. We could be here all night long. He had a house a mile from town, 3-story house. The only house in town that had hot water through the whole house. It was a nice house. He had animals, horses, pigs, cows, the whole thing. They built the Bath Consolidated Schools in town, so all the other schools in the country were moved here into town. The taxes went up, and that's where the problem started. The superintendent was a gentleman named Emery Hayek. I've also heard it's pronounced Huck or Hike, but I think it's Hayek. So Emery Hayek was the superintendent. Him and Kehoe were at odds. They fought over everything. So Kehoe, to get back at the town of Bath and to get back to the superintendent, he was going to blow up the school. Plain and simple. He set his house ablaze. He tied the horses' legs together and set fire to their barn. He did the same to his cows and his pigs. He did not want anything left for them to take and sell. There was a sign up on his post, a fence post. It said, criminals are made, not born. He was a madman. I'm not going to say he's not, but he was smart. He set his house on fire. Everybody came to his house. At 9:45 in the morning, the school blew up. So everyone stopped, went back to the school. He came past the school. He saw only half of it was blown up. He did a square mile. He came back into town, pulled out in front of the school. He saw the superintendent. He called him over. It was Emery Hayek, Glenn Smith, who was the postmaster, Mr. McFarland, who was a farmer who came to help, and a student who survived the original blast. They all came to his truck. Now, I've heard two stories. The outcome is the same. The first story is he had a push button, TNT in the back of his truck. He blew them all up. They all died. The other story I heard was he had a shotgun with a TNT in the back. He turned, boom, still he blew them up. This was after World War I. So the townspeople of Bath thought that the Germans had put dynamite on the power lines, and that's what was blowing up. 48 people were killed that day. 38 were children under 12. That is true. We've had all kinds of activity there. We've seen 3 apparitions. We have a public workshop hunt every anniversary in May. We've had our shirts being pulled, like, hey, excuse me, sir, thing. And it's really active. I don't know what this is. We take, oh, that's me. This is a book. I don't like the word paranormal expert because that means that you know everything there is to know about the paranormal. And we don't. We don't. It's not regulated. There's no science thing going on. It's all going out and doing your investigations and learning from the investigations. I don't know what this is. We have a book, or I have a book that has all the people that were killed there. So we were taking roll call during this part right here. So I'm taking roll. Basically, Arnold so-and-so, if you're here, say here. Melanie, if you're here, say here. And we're taping with a camera and EVP recorder to try to get voices. Don't know what this here is. I've heard these were called supercharged orbs, that they have so much energy that they cause streaks of light. Some people will say that that is caused by lights and moving the camera, but there's no lights there. It's a park. The park doesn't have any outside lights whatsoever. I'm not one to see faces in pictures because your mind plays tricks on you. Lighting, shadows can make you see things that aren't there. That being said, I see faces all through here. Mr. McFarland, he's right here. Mustache, white hair, eye, nose, chin, mouth. And I always say I'm going to bring the book to show you, and I never bring the book to show you. Next year, if you have me back, I'll show you. But that's him. That's him right there. So I don't know what this is. It was during a roll call in Bath. This was taken this past May. This church was the original church that was there. The bombing happened on the last day of school. The seniors were having graduation practice in this church. The rest of the kids were in school taking their exams. She took this with an iPhone without a flash. We don't know what this light is. No idea. Like I said, there's no spotlight on this church. There's a house right here, but there's no light on this church. And when she took the picture, she didn't see any light at all. So I don't know what that is. This is Arnold Victor Bueller, Bowerly. Sorry, Arnold, I don't know how to say your last name. He had missed a week of school, whooping cough. His parents were going into Lansing to do shopping. He wanted to go with them. He's like, Mom, can I go with you guys to Lansing? I want to do, you know, shopping, whatever. And his mom says, no, honey, you missed a week of school. You need to stay home, go to school, take your test. He died in the explosion. We got 2 EVPs here. This first one is self-explanatory. It says, where? I am not quite sure. Again, it's a whisper. It's not kill Zach. It says, where? I am not quite sure. The other one that we have is we were asking ourselves, there was 2 of us there, and we were asking where a certain classroom was at in the actual school. And we were going back and forth, and it says, I have a question.
Well, it's much more for us. Yeah, but over here, though.
I have a question. And that's how EVPs come out. Word of caution. We've had people tell us we're going to do EVPs this evening. We'll let you know tomorrow if we get anything. Okay, no problem, bud. The next day I have 10 emails in my inbox. We're moving, we're freaking out. My husband wants to move. Well, what happened? We tried doing EVPs and they responded. Well, isn't that why you do EVPs? To get the spirits to talk to you, to answer questions. So they were freaked out because the spirits answered some of their questions. So if you're going to try doing EVPs, if there's any amateur ghost hunters here tonight, be prepared to get something. And not everything is demons or demonic or anything. That's all TV. Linden Hotel. From here, it's about 30, 45 miles or so. It's over by Flint. Brighton area. We've been there many, many, many times. It's haunted, obviously. It's not a hotel no more. The up top is a sports bar. The bottom part is a family restaurant. The owner, Jack, sent us this actual picture. He sent us this picture, and it was during Civil War days. They were redoing the sports bar, so that's why all the studs are exposed and everything. And they were getting ready to go outside, I guess formation or something outside. I'm not totally for sure on that. He sent me that picture and said that he showed this picture to every one of these reenactors. Nobody knew who this guy was. He says, we don't know who that guy was. And reenactors, they're very meticulous what they have on. The correct badges, the correct style of the belts, everything. They all said, every one of these guys, him, said he was too well dressed, too much detail. And if you're in a place and you see people that are dressed like you and you're a spirit, you're going to make yourself shown to them. And that's what we think he did. But then Jack wasn't aware of this, but I went, Jack, did you see the face under the chair? And he goes, what face under the chair? There's a face right there. Mustache, the nose, eye, the head, and the chin. And he's like, I did not see that. And I'm like, he's there. This picture here, we do not know what this was. Seriously. Brenda was taking a picture of a Red Wings poster on the wall. Serious, true story. The poster is right here. This right here, no idea what it is. None. There was a story though, however, of when it was actually a hotel that used wood-burning stoves for heat. early 1900s or maybe late 1800s, there was a small fire upstairs. Some people were killed. One of the people that were killed was a small girl. This doesn't show it. If you see it on a computer, you have more detail. But there's a little girl right here. Her hair's up here, her face, her little feet's right there. And she has on like a white dress, PJs kind of thing. And one of the girls, like I said, that was killed, or one of the people that were killed was a small girl. So we think that we got her at least right there. What this is, we have no idea, none. This is the sports bar, okay? You have light coming in from the windows, horizontal lights. We don't know what this is. It's a vertical light. And since I said that, I don't know what this is either. But this right here is the main focus. We don't know who that is or what that is. Purple Rose Theater. They were doing a play called Apartment 2A. We sent them an email and like, could we do investigation? Oh yeah, come on out. Which really shocked me. So we were there. We spent the evening there. The whole crew was great to us. They ordered pizza for us. We had pop. And they had asked us if the actors who's going to be in this play can stay during the investigation. And we're like, well, of course. Why wouldn't they stay? So they could get some ideas of what we do and stuff like that. So, excuse me, we did, like I said, the overnight investigation. This was taken at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you ever see pictures from our website and we all looked like half dead, half tired, it's all because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And we've been out the whole night doing investigation. This is the main waiting area. There's an orb right there. This one here is interesting. This is one of the actors. This is the, I guess, resident director. He was in a couple of movies with Jeff Daniels on TV. They're watching a live video feed of one of our cameras. Unbeknownst to them, there's a spirit watching them, watching the monitors, watching the actual theater. I thought that was a poignant picture because there's, like I said, a spirit right there. That's not from outside light. That's not from anything else. That's the spirit. Traverse City Mental Hospital. We were there. Well, we've been there 3 or 4 times. It's not a hospital anymore. It's now shops. Well, at least the first part is shops. And this is cool, and I would stay here in a heartbeat. These are condominiums. They made the old state hospital condos. I would live there in a heartbeat. If I could, if they weren't, I'm sure, I haven't checked, but if they weren't so expensive, I'd be there, just for the ambiance. Seriously. It's cool. They offer it's called a history tour, but it's basically talking about the spirits of this place. This is they call these cottages. This is where the patients were actually slept, ate, and did their work and stuff in these cottages. We went through, on our tour, we went through 3 or 4 of the actual cottages. They're all falling apart now, but back in the day, they were probably pretty cool. These are tunnels that run through the whole length of this property. So they can go from one building to the other building to the other building and not go outside. And an interesting fact is there's spiders there. And the spiders are white and their joints are bloated because they are in a dark, moist environment 24 hours a day. And when he said that, all the girls started checking their hair to make sure there wasn't spiders. And our tour guide goes, every time I mention that, all the girls on the tour check their hairs. But that was cool, I thought. We did have an experience, and you don't have to be doing hunting like this to have an experience. We were there a couple years ago, me, the wife, and kids, and we were walking from the stores to the other stores. And I was in the front, our son our daughter, and then Brenda was bringing up the rear. And I looked behind to make sure that they were still with me, and I saw this black shadow coming up behind Brenda. And the first thought I had was, that dude's in a hurry because he's walking really fast. I took 2 more steps, I looked behind me again, he's gone. It was just us 4. But I saw a black shadow coming up behind us really fast. And like I said, my first thought was, he's in a hurry. He might have to go to the potty or something. Okay, I got a few videos that we have of our investigations. This is the comedy club. We did, a couple years ago, there's a rapper, his name is Prozac. I know the jokes already. But Prozac, he has a group called The Seekers. It was him, Andy, and Tim. I'm sorry, Adam and Tim. And they were going to tape us doing investigations on 3 different spots in Saginaw, Michigan. The Comedy Club, the Stable, and the Shook Hotel. And the thought was they were going to play it in the theater, which he did, the Temple Theater. We had 3 nights in October 3 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. And they played it in this theater, packed theater and everything. It was cool seeing yourself up on the big screen, but of course they adds a few more pounds to you. And we went to these 3 places, and this place here is the Comedy Club. It was upstairs in the kitchen area. Here is the walk-in fridge. There's a hallway right here. Again, I don't know what this is. It comes out. It comes out. See it? It comes out, it does a little spin, then goes back into the walk-in refrigerator. Don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like this. It's not an orb because it doesn't have an orb shape. It's like 2 or 3 rods, and it spins and it goes back into the walk-in fridge. Don't know what it is, don't have any idea what it is. Who has seen those grids of lights that they have on, like Ghost Hunters, I think Ghost Adventurers have them, where if something walks in front of this grid, the lights will like blink out? Well, we were in the house. Watch the grid of lights.
There was something just like floating down.
Oh, really?
So slow, like a...
The lights are going out.
Right.
There's nobody in front of those lights. There's nobody in front of the camera, but the lights from left to right, they go out, like something's walking in front of them.
You can see the piece of dust.
Yeah, I know. There was something just
You
like
see him right there?
floating down.
Oh, really?
So slow.
So that means that something is walking
Right.
between the grid of lights, which is right in front of our video camera, and where they're at on the actual wall there. Something's walking in front of them. Don't know who or what it was, but interesting. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Basically, like I already said before, voices recorded when they weren't audible at the time. We did a restaurant, it's called River Rock Restaurant. It's over by Holly, Groveland Township. We were there a couple years ago. They were experiencing things. And we got this EVP on the main floor. It says, "Mommy." Come to find out, the owner lost her son a year before in a car crash. So we're not for sure if that's who was saying "mommy," but we got "mommy" on EVP. Also River Rock, this says "wanna go home." The "wanna" is kind of like really low. And then the "go home" is like stretched out. So it's more or less, wanna go home. And wanna go home. I'm not for sure if this is her son or not, but we got "wanna go home" and "mommy." We were in a house in Lambertville, which is down with the border of Ohio. I don't like Ohio, so if I can stay out of Ohio, I do, just because of a certain school that's down there. Anyways, and I'm not a U of M fan, but I don't like them either. We had a house that we were doing an investigation, and we were with the homeowner, and we were talking about the previous homeowner. She was an older woman. And we're like, okay, where is she at? And she's like, well, there's a graveyard like 2 or 3 blocks away. We think she's there. No, she wasn't there. I am here. I am here. So she wasn't there after all. She was right there with us. Follow us. We're on Facebook. Our website is scmjhs.org. Email at ghosthunter@scmjhs.org. On Facebook, it is Southeast Michigan Ghost Hunters Society. And one other thing, too, you see our Ouija board up there? No. Ouija boards are not toys. This is my PSA for tonight. Does anybody know why Ouija boards are not toys? Yep. Yep. It's, believe it or not, if you look on the Ouija boards, ages 8.
Say goodbye at the end.
What's that?
You have to say goodbye at the end.
Oh, really?
Use them.
Do you?
Yeah, it says on there, because then if you say goodbye, then they don't try to come in.
They,
But they have it at the bottom.
they,
You're always supposed to say goodbye.
they still will, though.
Yeah.
It says 8 and over. So you can't drink, you can't smoke cigarettes, but you can conjure up demons. Plain and simple. It's not a toy. It's advertised as a toy. Basically, what you are doing is if you take the board and the planchette, which is that little sliding thing, and if you say, if there's any spirits here, make this move. That is the invitation for any spirits in the Tri-County area to come to your house. There are 2 types of spirits. There are human and non-human spirits. Human spirits are just that. They're human spirits. They once walked on earth. My father, my grandfather, my grandparents, my cousin, they're all human spirits. Non-human spirits, they never walked the earth. Also referred to as demons, demonic. That's what you will get if you use Ouija boards. Demons. They will try to masquerade themselves as someone that you know. Like, Grandma, is that you? Yes. They're trying to get into your house. And whether or not you believe, that's fine. But we did a few houses where Ouija boards were used. And one of the houses that we did, and she's going to say, you're going to think that we're crazy. And we hear that quite a bit. But we were doing the Ouija board. We know we shouldn't, but we were using the Ouija board. And we were in the room, and all of a sudden the Ouija board comes up off the floor. It spins 3 or 4 times and went flying against the wall. It kind of freaked us out. I'm like, you think? That's not, that doesn't usually happen, So we went out there, and there was a few things in the house. But the tricky part is if you use a Ouija board, you can't just throw it away. You can't just burn it. Why? Because whatever you conjured up is still here. If you burn that or get rid of it, the door to his side is no longer available for him. So he'll be in your house. And it's not going to be nice. Trust me, it's not. So, no to Ouija boards. Mrs. Reagan back in the 80s, say no to drugs, say no to Ouija boards. And I do have the haunting that I got at Walmart. I don't get paid for this. This is just a FYI kind of thing. A haunting. This is season 3. And ours is, like I said, episode 3. And it's The Attic. That's us. 3rd book, again, autograph for $20. I do have a few of them left. We were at Holly Library on Tuesday, and they bought quite a few. But anyways, they are available for a purchase. Any questions and or things that I can try to answer?